Hi everyone, it's Ren here again and again and again, and in this video I'll be talking about yet another aspect of the INFJ, which is the question of charisma. I think that at the moment I'm sort of engaged in this kind of quest to locate everything that is, let's say, peculiar or unique to the INFJ, as opposed to like things that the INFJ shares with other types. I'm not saying that something like charisma is something that is peculiar to the INFJ, of course. There are probably types that are more naturally charismatic. However, I think that there is a specific and peculiar INFJ type of charisma. And in this video, I will try to cover that. And it's probably going to be something that I'll follow from a thematic perspective in the future, trying to identify what is the INFJ charisma, what is the INFJ approach to philosophy, like I'm kind of doing at the moment. What is the INFJ approach to seduction? We're always talking in broad terms, doesn't mean that it has to apply across the board absolutely, but these are tendencies that I have identified and you may agree with or not agree with. In any case, we'll have a discussion after this. But I really do think that there is a specific kind of INFJ charisma. And it kind of goes against the currents a little bit for reasons that I'm not completely aware of, in touch with. Or rather, I just do not really understand the reasons why the INFJ, just like the INFP, or many other types of introverts, is typically perceived as being sort of in the background. They can be really interesting people. They can have a kind of aura of mystery or a psychic's vibe. You know, these are well-known things, which I guess for the most part I agree with, but it can be more than that. It can really be charismatic, and I think it's possible to list the various reasons why, at least from my perspective. So, first of all, it depends on what we call charisma, right? I think for me, charisma is more than charm. You know, someone who can charm their way, I mean, is one thing, and charisma is linked to charm. It is even from a semantic perspective, the two terms are connected, they're linked, so of course there is a link. But charisma is, to me, it's a combination of having a particular presence and drawing people to you, making people want to seek you almost by nature. So it's not as a result of trying to, have people follow you in a way. It's more like having a presence and drawing people to you by virtue of who you are. And to be honest, I think that the INFJ charisma, which manifests itself clearly in personalities, historical personalities like Martin Luther King or Thomas Jefferson or Gandhi or Nelson Mandela. You notice all these people known to be empathic, known to be introverted. There is a bit of a debate over whether Mandela was ENFJ or I think he's an INFJ personally. There's empathy, ability to listen, and being in tune with the F function. And I think that's potentially one of the most important aspects of the INFJ kind of charisma. I don't think an INFJ is going to ever manage to be charismatic like a T would, say like an ENTP or an ENTJ, like the best example being like the ESTP or the ESTJ or ENTJ, where the charisma comes from a place of confidence. To a large extent, it comes from a place of being very self-assured and having a sway as a result of the confidence with which you pursue things, whether you pursue them in the ESTP way of pursuing them, involving a lot of charm and social fluidity, or the ENTJ way, which is like about having a vision and being able to muster all the resources to attain that vision and having a solidity which is associated with that and having an authority that comes with it. And those are perhaps like the most sort of emblematic kind of charisma that we think about when we think about heads of state, when we think about the ENTJ Napoleon, or the ESTP presidents Andrew Jackson or Franklin Roosevelt. But the thing is, the INFJ charisma, the way that we as a type can manifest it in a very powerful way, I think, is different. And I think that an INFJ who tries to imitate, consciously or not, or wishes that he had the charisma of someone who is a T, or say like an ENTJ or an ESTP or any other type, really, even other types of F, is not going to succeed. It's not going to succeed because that's not how we are built from a functional perspective. But that doesn't mean that we cannot have charisma. And I think that as INFJ, as introverts equipped with NI and with FE, it can go both ways. It can go both ways because NI and FE makes us specially likely to have, how to put this, like to perceive things and then take these things and put it in relation to other people via FE, right? If we perceive our own charisma or our own abilities are as somehow insufficient, which is something that we can perceive if we are going through a bit of a rough patch, we perceive it with NI, we loop it with TI, it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle. And via FE, we can sort of unconsciously or consciously sort of compare ourselves to others. Others seem to be better, and then we might end up being sort of crippled by self-doubt and thinking that we're lacking. Not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm less charismatic than that person, because that's not a concern that everybody has. But, just generally not being at the top of your game, if you like. But the thing is, NIFE, and TI, I guess, also as an addendum, can be taken in a different route. It comes from a place of self-acceptance. And that self-acceptance is what it is. I accept myself, I accept that I'm a bit strange, I accept that I'm an introverted intuitive, I'm always kind of come across like I'm a bit different than average, but at the same time, I have a special talent. To listen to people, to perceive things in what people tell me. And when I say I, you understand, I mean I as an INFJ. To listen to people, to hear what they tell me and to give them particular insights. And to be, because of the FE awareness of the tribe, if you like, to be consistent. That is, whenever a person comes to us and we don't have something to do in particular or whatever, and they seek help, we're always happy to provide it, particularly if the help consists in us offering our perspective, because we are, as INFJs, we are fundamentally creatures of perspectives. We're really, really great at providing a particular kind of perspective, either an original perspective that the person hadn't thought about, or I find that in myself sometimes and in other INFJs, providing perspective that is somehow, is not necessarily original, but it provides the synthesis, and that's probably achieved through NI, of all like different little tidbits of perspectives that are scattered and not really pulled together, that are offered you by the person confessing something to you because they're seeking help. And we seem to be very well equipped to say, okay, so there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G here. Okay, I think that what you're trying to say is this, and we synthesize it and we offer that neatly kind of summarized insight based on all that they told us. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, and it's often actionable and it really helps them. Well, what I'm trying to say is this fundamental altruism, which comes from a place of intuition and our own enigmatic dimension via NI, this aura of mystery that we have, but mixed with this availability when we're asked to provide really great advice and insights to people is really special. Not a gift that a lot of other types have. And that contributes to charisma. And that's what I wanted to say. I think the fundamental INFJ charisma is the charisma, I almost want to say of a psychologist, but that's not really the term. I mean, of course, we know that we're supposed to make good counselors, but it's not necessarily the charisma of a psychologist. It is partly that, but it's almost more like the charisma of someone who has a certain kind of wisdom and who's able to come up with things that really help people and that provide people with the way we look at them, with the way we manifest warmth in listening to them. People know that we are a place where they can go, where they can feel secure, safe, they can trust the party that is listening to them, and that we are going to react to what they're saying, not only with care, but also with depth. We're going to add depth. We're going to ensure that there is a depth of exchange, and sometimes that's what people look for. And often that's what people look for, not necessarily when they are at their best. Sometimes that's what they look for when they are looking for meaning, when they are they're in a bit of a rut, they're going through a rough patch, or they're looking for relationship advice or for friendship advice. Those are the moments when we are the best, because it helps people. It makes us feel good in helping other people, because that's really how we function as an IFE. We may try to convince ourselves that we are best when we are working for ourselves, but that's not the case. And it always comes back, and we always end up feeling sad and anxious if we focus too much on ourselves all the time. There needs to be place in our life for helping other people. And it doesn't have to be practical help if that's kind of something we're not super comfortable with. We can try to channel most of that innate need via intuitive help, which is our forte. But in the process of doing that, we're also bolster our peculiar INFJ aura, which is the aura of the person who is calm, who listens, who has depth in their eyes, and who's able to provide other people with insight. The other people might never think that we are charismatic like a leader of men is charismatic, like an ESTP is charismatic, but we'll have our own particular kind of INFJ charisma, and that can be a very, very potent presence in a place. And a presence that not only is so to speak, charismatic, like I said, but it's not like the sort of negative kind of charisma, because you might say, well, yeah, some people have a big presence, but like that, it is such that is so overwhelming that we kind of want to avoid them. But to me, that's not really charisma, because charisma, again, is drawing people to you. But with the perspective plus the FE, the INFJ is built to have charisma in the original sense. And perhaps you'll say ENFJs are more charismatic because they're even more people directed, and that's true. But for people who are looking for depth of insight and perspective and thoughtfulness, the INFJ is the special one. It is the special one. And through that and knowing that can come confidence. And we can build confidence in knowing that we are special like that, and that if we really accept that part of ourselves, which includes fully accepting that we're sensitive and empathic, because our charisma depends more on our being sensitive and empathic than on our being rational and strong in the traditional sense, like tough, We're strong via our sensitivity and empathy, and we're charismatic via our sensitivity and empathy. Okay, let me know in the comments what you think. See you guys.